What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today we're going to be talking about the Hoback Kwaiback sent in by Blade Centered. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, everybody. This knife. Okay, so Blade Centered had hit me up. He had saw, I think, my comparison on the Ace Grand and the Spyderco Shaman. Both excellent knives. I love both of those knives dearly. He wanted to check out the Ace Grand, and he was like, well, I've got some stuff. Let me send you something. And he sent some knives, and I was like, so I've got the better deal out of that it's not a trade, out of that swap. So, matter of fact, he has actually already got his full review of the Giant Mouse Ace Grand up, so definitely go check that out. I will have him linked down below, his YouTube and his Instagram. The dude is just awesome. So, he sent me the Kwaiback. Hoback Knives is a brand that I have looked at and known about for a while, but I haven't picked one up. Almost traded for one. It's probably been about a month ago. I don't even remember what the trade deal was going to be, but I ended up not doing it, and I kind of regret that. It was one of his bigger knives. He does make big overbuilt knives, and you guys know that's what I love. This one caught my attention because it is different. The Kwaiback, of course, is not it's not like an original design per se. The Kwaiback the Kwaiken style knife has been around since ancient Japan, from what I understand. But this particular folder puts Jake's little flair on it, and he did an excellent job. Just look at this blade. Now, you will see this show side is wearing a carbon fiber scale, and then the lock side is the titanium with the bed form, I believe, micro milling on the back side, and this gorgeous cutout pocket clip. Now, this is a Knife Center exclusive, from what I understand from Mr. Blade Centered. And then, of course, it came with, the other side being titanium, and he bought this carbon fiber scale directly from Jake Hoback. And, yeah, it's definitely, obviously with full titanium, these things are pretty thick. So that carbon fiber scale definitely helped with the weight. I carry heavy knives, so I doubt that would have bothered me at all. But yeah, I really enjoyed, or I really was excited to get this in hand. So how does it feel in hand? It feels good. I would say that you've got rounding or chamfering in most of these areas. The flipper tab, if I can get a good shot of that. Flipper tab doesn't have any jimping. And so that's really, really comfortable. You can see that kind of cut out there if I can get my camera to do what I need to do. So it flips out really, really good. I have enjoyed that. It's kind of a pokey, like a stabby kind of, you can see, here it is on the hinderer, how that upswept. This right here around the same. So, it's not meant to be a push button. So if you try to push button this, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable. It is a light switch, and it works really well for a light switch. So that is the way you need to deploy this knife. It is like perfectly centered. He took this knife apart and he cleaned it. Of course, he put the scale on there. This knife is in CTS XHP. Boom! I said it without messing it up. Jake, Kevin, what? Sorry, a little rant there. I almost always mess that up, so I am not saying it again. You know what the steel is. Now, I will say that whenever he put this knife together, they always put the steel on the inside of the scales. And so since this one has a different scale on it, it says a different steel, but this one is CTS XHP. Did it again! What? Yeah, I'm telling you, it's pretty hard to say. Just try it. Just try it. So, anyways, one thing I really love about Jake Hoback, a few different things, really. One thing is the hardware on this guy. It's kind of an optical illusion there, but those body screws and the pivot screw are all one size. It's the little things, guys, that Jake did right. Jake Hoback was like, why put different sizes on these things so you need one tool to take it apart? Common sense, right? He did it. Nobody else is really doing that. So I'm really, really excited about that. This one, I think, from what Blade Center told me, that they come with back spacers now. These are barrel spacers, which I like barrel spacers. You know, I like barrel spacers on my Hinderer. I like barrel spacers on this. I think they're fine, you know, flow through construction. So I really, really dig that. This one does have a lock bar insert, steel lock bar insert, and something called the Hoback, shoot. I knew I was going to do this. The Hoback roller detent, rolling detent. I had this, I was like looking at it and I was like, okay, I get this. The Hoback rolling detent. What is that rolling detent? Well, by golly, I think it's pretty genius. It's basically like the head of a pin, the ball point, like a ballpoint pin where it rolls. So on a regular detent, you have the detent ball that's pressed into the hole, but the ball is stationary and it doesn't move. It just rides along the blade. This has a rolling detent like a pin. And so what that relates to is a very, very smooth action. And this one is actually adjustable. See if you can see that right there where my pointing finger is, that little one right there. So you can actually adjust that. Freaking genius. I love that. Matter of fact, one thing I like even more than his invention, I think it came out, he did this a long time ago. I can't remember when he actually invented this, but it's his invention. But he's not patenting it. Can't say that. Patenting the Jake Hoback rolling detent. He's like, you know what? I came up with it. If you want to use it, go for it. Just give me the credit. Call it the Hoback rolling detent. You know, I'm sorry, but that is kind of refreshing to see in this, not this community, because the knife community is great, but in this world of just gimme. I did this. Yeah, I want my slice of the pie. And people that do that, I get it. I mean, you put in the work. You came up with the idea, but he did that and he was like, no, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think if other knife companies want to use it, use it. Just, you know, call it what it is. I mean, that makes me respect the man even more than I already did. He's really cool, really good guy. He actually, on his knives, usually, this is an exclusive, but he actually has a verse of scripture, which is very controversial. But you know what? That's just who he is. And on his knives, he does his thing. And so I really, the more I learn about Jake Hoback, the more I like him. The more I like him a lot, and I want to support him. And of course, this is my first, my first knife from him. Very super impressed. I want you to see this big old thick blade. That's about 187 thousandths thick blade. Same thing, maybe a little bit thinner on each of the God, I can't talk. The titanium and the carbon fiber, the thickness. So you're looking at a pretty thick knife. It's like 0.573. So that's pretty thick, but in my hands, obviously, I love that. I like a thicker handle because it fills my hand out more and I feel like I just got more control. Ergonomically, this thing is great. If I put my finger right here in this forward finger control, I can kind of feel the jimping there when my finger is right in that corner. It's not a huge deal. The pocket clip doesn't seem to be a hot spot. It feels okay. I mean, I can feel the pocket clip. It's just not what I would say like it hurts or anything. I can feel it though. The reverse grip, obviously, this one's kind of pointy on the end. So reverse grip, I kind of would rather have a flat up here. But who the heck uses the reverse grip, right? I don't. Except for when I'm playing with my knives. But you do have jimping back there if you want to be able to do that. I know I talked about the pocket clip, how they cut that little hatchet out. I dig that. I dig that a lot. Some of the other ones had it laser etched on there. On this particular model, it has it all cut out. I think that is wonderful. It does carry well. However, it is not a deep carry pocket clip. This is a knife that will stick out about this much out of your pocket. It's going to be a deal breaker for a lot. It is not with me because I do like the overbuilt knives. I don't have to have deep carry. It's just, I don't care. But I know a lot of people do, so that's fine. This is I guess you would call it a compound grind, because I mean, you can see the transition there. But it's a high saber grind and a flat grind on the Tonto portion, which is got a little bit of belly on it. And I dig that. I dig the shape. I was watching the video. You know how, you see how it looks like it does this? They said it was an optical illusion. we're going to test that theory. Does it sit flat? No. No, it doesn't. I can't remember whose video I was watching, but they were like, this is flat. It just looks like it's like this. No, that's bullcrap. This knife, it's like this. I mean, exaggerated. And I kind of like it. I kind of dig it. I didn't know how I was going to feel about it. But with that blade being back there, and it's at a different angle when you're cutting, especially when you're doing push cuts, that I found really comfortable. And actually just more controllable because of that, just that slight angle. It doesn't take much. So yeah, that was really, really interesting how my hands just fit there. And then when I was cutting, it kicks this blade just a little bit back. And yeah, I kind of found myself just being able to just slice. I mean, I wasn't really going crazy with this knife because it's not mine, but I took a little piece of cardboard and I was like, slash, slash. And it felt really good. Now, it's not the thinnest thing behind the edge. It is about 28 thousandths behind the edge. But you gotta, you have a pretty high saber grind. It doesn't go all the way to the top, but it's a pretty thick blade stock. At about 187 thousandths. So, I'm not displeased with that. Could it be thinner? Probably, but it really is a hard use knife. And with a hard use knife, I like to have a thicker edge to keep it tough, and of course with this steel, you're not going to have a problem. I really enjoy XHP. Now, the only problem, before we turn the camera around, get some size comparison specs, the only problem that I really had with this knife while carrying it is I guess it might be just my big old thumbs, but when I deploy this knife and then I go to disengage it, it's got really good access to get it out of the way. But it hits my, the flipper tab always hits my fingernail. That's the way most of the flippers are. And so whenever it comes down, it's such a long area between there and there where the detent, you have to, it's pretty significant of a where the detent ramp gets onto the blade. And so that's adjustable. I'm not going to adjust it. It might be better if I adjust it, but I found that most of the time when I tried to stow this knife away, my thumbnail would stop the blade and I would have to give it some more, come up here and do this, or use the actual flipper tab, just kind of move it past that and go down. It didn't happen all the time. And then of course, if you learn, what you're doing with the knife, it's just naturally, it feels like it stops. And then I'm like, it's not going down. And then, of course, you could shake it past it however you want. It's just something that I noticed. It's not as fun to play with whenever that happens. I kind of just wish I could just get it to, because it's super duper smooth. Super duper smooth. It is running on bearings, and they work really well. I know that, I'm pretty sure that Blade Center put KPL in there that does ship with a little bit of grease. But, dude, this thing locks up, bam, so well. There is absolutely no blade play in this. It is rock solid. I do want you to see kind of right there, the chamfering on the blade here. They really did a great job. The milling on this thing is excellent. The micro milling looks amazing. The chamfering, all these places. I mean, there's a couple of sharp spots around it, but it's just the way the design flow goes. You're not going to be... It's not sharp like you're going to cut yourself. Just, little bitty pointy spots that really in my hand size, I can't really feel. But if I'm like just feeling for them, I got them, not a big deal. So let's go ahead, flip this knife or flip the camera around and put this up against some other knives so you can get a good, idea of how big it is, because it's not a small knife, and get you some more close-ups of this beautiful beast. Okay, so this knife, yeah, it's pretty big. What have we got here? It is 9 inches overall. So 9 inches, definitely a full-size knife, something that I love. I like the bigger knives, but some people might balk at. 9 inches, you get a blade length of a 3.75, a close length of 5.3. Your cutting edge is pretty close to this to the same as the blade length, because it's pretty close. There is a little bit of a swoop here, but you're able to choke up on this knife, which I very much appreciate. It's not a full finger choil, but it really is nice with these ergonomics that I wanted to show you, that I could put your finger there. You're just kind of getting a little close to it, but because there really is no sharpening choil, you know, it doesn't have the hook that usually you get right here. So I'm not as afraid to get nicked whenever I'm holding this. So that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and put it up against a couple of knives. Of course, here it is against the Spyderco PM2. And as you can see, longer than the Pair 2, but carry profile this way, pretty similar, except for that big old hole in the Spyderco. Here it is against another overbuilt knife, the Hinder XM18 3.5 inch. Yes, it is bigger than the 3.5 inch. And I'm going to say this is still smaller than the XM24. I don't have a 24 in the collection right now. That will change eventually. But yeah, so pretty decent sized knife, I have to admit. But I think a lot of people will like it. I mean, if you like smaller knives, then you like smaller knives. I can't change that. But as far as this knife, what you're getting versus the weight, especially with a carbon fiber scale, let's just see what this thing weighs. 4.6 ounces for a 9-inch knife. I don't think that's bad at all. I really think that it is very doable. Now, the full titanium, I can't remember what Blade Center said that it measured. I'm pretty sure it was like a full ounce that it cut as far as the weight. So 4.6, you're looking at 5.6. I still think it's fine, but I'm a big guy and that's what I like. So, but anyways, just while we're here, so you can get a good look at the finish on the blade. Really, really nice. The chamfering around there. This carbon fiber scale that he put on there is sick, especially with this blue color on the titanium and that micro milling. Golly. So as you can see, just all this hardware, the exact same size. I love you, Mr. Hoback, for that. Oh, I mean, it's like an optical illusion. You see how huge these look versus that one, but it's the same. Ain't that interesting? I like it a lot. So anyways, guys, I appreciate you stopping by and checking it out because this thing is sweet. If you are looking to buy an American-made product, Jake Hoback is definitely one to look at. I really like a lot of his models, and I hope to get some more on the channel soon. This one is definitely polarizing with that kind of a Tonto blade and this really cool, you know, it's the Quaken, but he calls it the Kwaiback. So it is a very popular style of knife, just with his little twist on it. And I think he did an excellent job. I really have enjoyed it. Blade Center, you are the man. I really appreciate you sending this along. I cannot wait to check out more Jake Hoback products. Remember, Blade Center will be linked down below at his Instagram and YouTube channel. Definitely go sub to his channel and follow him on Instagram because he is a super cool dude and we love him dearly. Guys, stay safe in this crazy world that we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.